outweigh the amount to make me encumbered. Like, it just doesn't.
Right. Okay. So
Shocking. So it is.
previously, ignoring the fact that Salisbury's
So
put on a
Salisbury-
bandana and
How
encumbered
have we done
himself.
this?
You put on a bandana and encumbered yourself. Anyway.
Oh no,
God damn it, Salisbury.
medium is 43 to 86. It just says 86 in the fucking.
Right. So you guys left Lithgar, dealt with the prophet. You
Did not.
still
provide.
have possession of the small kind of like orb thing. I say small. The huge orb thing that is being made small. You guys showed up to a town or a place called the Velis Crossroads, which is organised by the Velis Cartel, which is basically a main central hub between the three cities of Valisar, Fjalgar, and Balakia. Since arriving, you guys have had a kind of brief look at what was being sold in some of the stalls, and then headed off to the inn for the night. And we kind of regain ourselves as you guys all wake in the morning. Most of you having a good night's sleep. Hakon, you
Yes.
find yourself in the night,
Oh no.
where your head would be filled with dreams, and you'd be quite happy and wake up feeling quite ready for the day. You wake up having
was
seen
I-
only
was I-
blackness.
Only blackness.
Yeah, you had no dreams. Like there was nothing. You just kind of woke up, and it's kind of unusual for you and your people because you're usually quite well tied to your dreams, and
I'm clearly pining.
you're pining. Yep. But yeah, you wake up and that like mark on your arm is kind of stinging a little bit. Not really any different, just kind of stinging slightly.
So has the mark changed visibly in any way?
No.
Or is it just that it kind of is like what I'm assuming it's kind of like a pulsing pain rather than like a jabbing pain.
Yeah, it's kind of like if somebody took something like relatively sharp and was kind of poking it into your arm.
So not a pulsing pain, a sharp
Not really.
pain.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Thanks.
A
Greg.
pulsing sharp pain.
Yeah, actually, it is probably a pulsing jab pain. It probably like comes in like increments.
Right. Okay.
It's like pins and needles.
Does it come?
It's
with
like pins and
any,
needles.
like-
It's basically like you slept in your arm.
Yeah. Okay.
But you haven't.
But like what happens if I press on the
Nothing.
I'm gonna
It
call
doesn't
it-
actually like the
So
actual.
that doesn't activate the pain.
No.
Like, it comes and goes.
It's not really like a physical thing.
Okay, cool. Well, that's all I was. That was just testing.
Okay. So yeah, that happens. But yeah, you guys kind of meet up down in the inn, all ready for food. Salisbury's already started. What's the plan? What's the plans for the day? Seeing as before you had just kind of arrived and weren't really sure what was going on.
Well, I am going to ask the group if they would be okay with taking a trip to the Magic Quarter because they've got a quarter, like a third of the city, don't they?
It's not really that there's a third of the city that's a magic quarter. It's a third of the city is
Run by the people that
Run-
are more inclined towards magic.
yeah, but it's not necessarily all of them that are like that.
Yeah, no, but I'm
Oh,
saying.
yeah, I know what you mean though. Yeah, like
the information that we previously have,
Mhm.
that is the place to go looking for someone that might know both what the thing on my arm is and how to stop it being there.
I
possibly.
need
Yeah.
to go find some brothers.
I'm gonna roll for a check on decoding that book.
Which book? I wasn't sure which book you were doing first, so I was unsure.
Have I finished the Infernal book?
You finished the Infernal book.
All right, so I'll do the Prophets book.
So is Brune fluent in Infernal now?
He's not fluent in it, no. He's just read everything that's in that book. Like,
Right.
he's not...
So he's managed to make his way cover to cover through the book.
Yeah.
How was the story? Did
It's
it
not
flow? really.
really a story. It's more
Yeah,
instructions.
What was the
Yes.
characterization like?
Anyway, can I make a check for this other book?
So it's the Prophet's Journal one. What was the other one you had?
I think that was the only other. The only other daily thing I was doing was teaching Mark to read.
Oh,
That's right.
that's what it was. You were doing the liquid stuff. You were like inspecting that and seeing what was going on with that before. Are you wanting to keep doing that, or are you just kind of leaving that for now?
We're still in the city, right?
Yeah, you're still within.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it while we're in the city. I'm gonna keep Mark as a pig.
Okay.
I'm gonna, however, try and decode that book.
Right. Okay. Now I had taken kind of rough
I've seen it
ideas
already.
of how you to decode it because it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be one of these things that's like one roll and you kind of just decode it. It's going to be like a whole. Once it's decoded, you could read the whole thing, but actually decoding it is going to take the time.
Yeah, that's cool. But I'm not keen to start transforming Mark into Pigman in the midst of a city, just in case people are not so Pigman friendly.
Probably not. It's not really that common a thing. Just being
Yeah,
like.
that was my thinking. As if I'm not.
It's
I'm
not that
also
kind of
I don't want
city,
my
man.
research to get leaked either.
Wouldn't it be awful if someone was to come and steal all your research and then eventually, when you die, have to appear at your funeral and help out others?
That would be horrendous.
It'd be horrible if that was to happen.
Hang on, I'm just quickly reading. Right. We're gonna do. We'll do 2 checks. I don't know how you would do. I don't know how you would actually do like a proper decoding check, because there's not really anything that would go for it. We'll definitely do 2 check. It'll be 2. One of them will be spellcraft. The other one will be more linked to actually like decoding the actual like words used in it. Whereas the other one is just to kind of decode through, because it's more of a magic text, but it's like a magic encryption as well on top of. So it's not just like magic writing; it's encoded magic writing. So it's a combination of
like spellcraft and arcana, or spellcraft and craft books, or what we doing?
I don't know. Go for? I mean, perception's not the best one to go for that kind of thing. I would say, because it's not really, you're not really perception. You're actually having to do something. I mean, disabled device would maybe come under it, but that's more dex based. It would definitely be something that's wisdom or charisma. Actually, probably wisdom based. Wisdom or intelligence, one of the two. What knowledge do you have learned?
Arcana and linguistics.
Oh, roll that then.
But it's linguistics, abyssal, and infernal.
Right. Do you have a base modifier?
Skill modifier. No, it just has it broken down into ability modifier, ranks, and misc modifier.
Right. If you just roll int then. Just roll like a flat int.
Okay.
Plus your spellcraft. So spellcraft is to kind of like decipher, or to like actually be able to read the magic writing, and the int checks just to see if you can decode it.
So spellcraft. I can't press up because I haven't made any rolls. So that's the spellcraft one. Dreadful.
Okay. I was literally about to explain something, but I'll not bother now.
Yep. And intelligence better than spellcraft.
Okay. What I was going to say was, if you do badly on the spellcraft, it makes the knowledge check higher, but you actually managed it anyway.
Oh well.
So you're not really able to decode it, but you've sat down and you've kind of made a start on it. So we'll say that if you roll a d4. Three. Okay.
Nice and easy.
Yeah. So if we'll say you've got 3 more like tries at it to fully decipher it based on that first roll. So this is your kind of like initial laying it out, kind of setting yourself of how you think you're going to be able to decode it, and you've kind of read through the first few pages and picked out words that seem to appear often and appear in like certain like semantic ways. Or semantic? Is it not semantic?
Semantic.
That's the word, right? Thank you. Yeah, words that appear in semantic ways that make sense to you as saying like, okay, that could mean this word, and this could mean something else, and these are like names and all that kind of thing, and just kind of going through it. But you think it's probably going to take you another three tries at this kind of pace, and from here, you don't need to make another spellcraft roll, but you'll make future. You can make another spellcraft roll actually if you want, because you can do both rolls each day or each time, and the better you do in the spellcraft, the easier it is to actually do the deciphering. Do you want to do that?
Okay. Yeah, can do. So you want another spellcraft?
Not just now, because it'd have to be like another day. But each day you can do like another one in the morning, or any time you've got any like decent amount of time to yourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what are you guys doing other than? So Hakon wants to go to see the people of Balakir and see if there's anybody else got any kind of knowledge of what could be ailing him. Thonan's read his book. Jonas, what are you doing?
I'm I'd probably go help out Hakon, and yeah,
Yes, buddy's going on an adventure.
Jesus.
and keep eyes open for brothers.
Okay. Alright, on you go.
Whose bit are you want to do first?
Well, you're both doing the same thing.
Well, I
said
thought
it-
Brute was doing something else.
He's read
No,
his book.
no, I'll come with you guys.
Alright, cool. We're going to go for a wander in the quarter, Graham. What do we see?
Okay, you go
Paint
back
me a
out.
picture.
You go back out into the kind of main square. There's like rows of tents. It basically looks like a kind of marketplace like you would find in like kind of like farmers market kind of thing, which is like rows of those stalls with different people selling their various wares. You see a lot of people that you saw before, so it seems to be the merchants that come for like longer periods of time. They don't just show up for like a day and then leave again. They'll stay
Yeah.
for maybe like a week or so, sell most of their stuff to the point where it's detrimental for them to stay because their stall just looks bare. Or they'll get people to like bring stuff in and deliver them more things, but a lot of the people seem to be the same kind of people you saw before. The area that's kind of designated with Balakir, basically the way the square is kind of laid out, the stonework on the ground in the main bit is kind of like stone paving that's kind of very light, almost like sandstone. And then going out from that, there's a kind of coloured border that goes around each of the areas to kind of designate which is for which city. So you've got a red area that's for Valasar, you've got a blue area that's for Yalgar, and a green area is Balakir.
Okay.
So you guys kind of go over to the green area that has a lot of people who are wearing. It's almost kind of like kind of Arab dress, but it's not as plain as just like cloth robes and stuff. It's got it's kind of like they're adorned with a lot kind of fancy jewellery and kind of fancy engravings and markings and stuff on them to try and make them look a bit nicer. Obviously, this is the kind of higher up merchants. The ones that are not so fantastic are just kind of plainly clothed. But yeah, you guys can kind of walk through and have a look and see if there's anything that particularly would interest what you're looking for.
Okay.
Also, if anybody else is looking to like buy anything or interested in anything, you can have a look as well.
Not me.
Solvay, you looking to buy anything?
Not at the moment.
Too busy eating.
Yeah. Right, so what sort of stalls do I see in the green sector then?
Quite a lot of varying things. There's ones that focus on specific items or specific styles of items. There's ones that are more kind of like generalized. There's ones that have a focus on kind of things being ornate or more kind of just like little trinkets and stuff, where there's things that actually have a practical purpose to them.
Okay.
Um,
I don't really think it's a vendor that I'm looking for though. Like it's more, I don't know, maybe it would be someone that knows something about markings or engravings. Was this Mark in Will's book? I can't remember if we meant if
no, it wasn't in Will's book.
it wasn't in Will's book.
No.
It's
Did
the
you-
same mark as the key thing, though, isn't it?
Yep.
Right. Okay. So are there any stalls that sell items that have that sort of engravings on them? So like obviously like there's the key. Is there any items that kind of have obviously not that engraving but maybe something very similar to it?
Roll perception.
Okay.
Just porno, or
I mean, if you guys know what he's looking for, you can, but he's got a kind of better idea.
A 24.
Yeah, he's also doing all right. Yeah, you can look through. Some of the stalls are more heavily focused on arcane magics. Some of them are focused on divine magics, religion, that kind of thing. Those seem to be the ones that more are what you'd be looking for. So
The divine magics?
yeah, the divine kind of like religious based stuff. Because as you know, like a lot of deities have symbols and logos and like whatever kind of
makes sense.
crests and stuff. So if you were looking for something like that, it would be more likely on something like one of those.
Okay, so is there a divine magic stall?
There's a few of them.
I was about to explain more.
All right.
If
Well,
you
don't take such long
if-
pauses then.
Well, I was trying to decide how
Fucking knob,
how I
Graham.
wanted to describe it, Graham. Where you
Sorry.
jumped in and finished my sentence for me.
It's alright.
Is there a divine stall that has maybe sort of darker deities? So I'm imagining I would be able to pick out some of the more lighter, more common deities, but maybe something that's a little less common, maybe a little bit more on the chaotic side of the spectrum.
Um, Not really. Like to openly sell stuff like that and that in a kind of marketplace like that wouldn't be wise for the vendor standpoint. I mean, they might have stuff, but it's not going to be like
Yeah.
front and center. So you'd have to kind of ask around.
Okay, so what? So you said that there were several of the stalls that were divine. Can you describe them to me?
There's a few of them that have more stuff that looks to be kind of like good luck charms and stuff of like keeping you safe and oh here's a thing that will protect you kind of thing. Like none, some of those ones and they're the,
Here's this lucky Murloc foot.
yeah stuff
It'll
like
keep you
that.
safe for these bad guys.
Yeah, it'll be like here's a crest of this deity. This deity is to do with like luck and goodwill and all that, and it's like stuff like that. However, they're the more kind of tacky stalls almost. The ones that are like legitimate stuff that's probably from actual like temples or it's been made by people who are in like deeply invested in the religions are the more high end, and you can kind of see them. They're closer to the basically they kind of like tier off the stalls. So the further into the market that you go, the less good stuff you get to. Whereas the better stuff is at the kind of like closer to the center. So within like the first row
I'd
or
be
so,
wanting to wander like right into the center to find like the group of the best stalls.
yeah, like within the first row. So like the center, I mean like in the center of the crossroads.
Yeah, that's what I'm meaning.
Yeah. So within the first couple of rows, you see a couple of probably like 2 stalls out of them that are primarily aimed at religious based or divine based
Can you
merchandise.
describe the vendors to me?
The vendors themselves.
Yes.
One of them is a fairly kind of like middle aged kind of like that kind of like tan skin of like Middle Eastern people almost. Is wearing kind of silver almost robes with kind of gold adornment on them, wearing kind of brooches and stuff in them that are kind of looking very very fancy. Has quite a few rings on his finger. He's trying to kind of like you can see him kind of like waving his hands, trying to get the attention of some people nearby.
Okay.
The other guy is a lot quieter. He's not really like shouting out as much. He's not really kind of pointing out to people. He's just kind of sitting behind his stall. He's slightly larger, a lot younger, and is just kind of sitting, kind of occasionally kind of try to glance eyes at people that are walking past, but not really making a big deal of trying to get their attention.
Okay. I want to go up to the quieter guy
Okay.
and say hello. I was wondering if you could help me with some religious iconography that I have. Do you know much about that sort of subject?
He says, I have various things. If you know roughly what you're looking for, I'm sure we can find something that suits you.
Oh yes. Well, it's more that I have an item that I believe to be of a deity, and I was just looking to find someone that was particularly well versed in some of the lesser known deities.
It's like, oh well, that's something I believe I specialize in slightly. Anybody can tell you the more well known, well worshipped, but it's the rarer ones. They're the ones that have the true value.
I would believe so as well. I would believe so as well. Is there perchance anywhere that we could discuss this slightly less out in the open? I fear that the item that I have to show you would get spotted by someone and potentially cause more attention to myself than I would wish.
Roll diplomacy.
Okay. Incoming 1. 12.
You can see him kind of thinking it over, and he kind of like motions you in closer. He's like, it's like if you come with me just now, we can go somewhere. We can go back to one of the mercenary is, and we can discuss it further. However, I need to understand what your intent is with this item. Are you looking to sell, or is it just simply...
For now, I would like to merely find out more about it, more about the deity to which it is attached, but I would be willing to pay for your services.
It's like, that's what I was looking for. He's like, okay, follow me, and like wanders back behind his stall, and you can see that like as he kind of like jumps down, you can see he's actually like probably like some kind of like dwarven half breed almost.
Yes, pick the right person.
He's I don't know, it's difficult to tell what his heritage is, but it's definitely not like pure dwarven.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird, but yeah, he kind of like waddles off.
So, like, he doesn't have the facial construction of a dwarf.
No.
It's definitely dwarf.
There's dwarven blood in there
There's
somewhere.
dwarf in
Yeah.
there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he wanders down and kind of like continually looks around to see if you're following him. He's not really going at too great a pace. He's kind of like trying to push past people and like shouting at them as he's going. You get further back towards some of the like further back into the market, towards some of the shittier stalls at the back, basically. And leading off of that, there's a lot of buildings that look to be kind of set up for the merchants to stay in while they're there and keep any extra stores and stuff. So he walks down, kind of goes up, takes out a key to one of the doors and opens it, and that must obviously be wherever he's from. Heads inside. It's just a kind of like, it's not the best looking place, but it's it looks more secure. Like it looks like the purpose of it is to be secure rather than to be fancy. Like it's not there to be
Makes
impressive.
sense.
Yeah. He goes in, stands in the doorway and motions you inside. I don't know if any of you guys are following, but he kind of like slightly eyes you. Like who else is still following on? Are you guys looking to come in?
I
or
don't
what?
know. Is he making it like distinct that it's just him and Porno kind of doing this, or is it fairly like open?
I think he's trying to like make it look as if he wants to be as discreet about it as possible, so the less people. the
Yeah, that's
better.
cool. We'll just
Unless
hang
you
about.
have like a specific reason to be going in.
No,
I think
just
he's.
hang about.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
so,
I'll be relaying everything that I get told back to you anyway. So
yeah, it's fair enough. But yeah, so you go in and he closes the door behind you, and then he turns around and says, "So, what have you brought me?"
so I probably go in and take a seat, then pull the key out of my.
Wait, what?
Is that your reaction or his reaction?
That's my reaction. Because the key is on the little metal orb, and if you take the key out, the metal orb opens.
Oh right, I thought we just had a key.
No.
My bad.
No.
I'll show my arm then instead.
Okay. Well, okay, he'll say, "What?"
Oh, that almost got fucking.
Yeah.
I'll
When did you take the metal orb off of me?
I didn't. I thought that we
I was going to be like, "Oh God, I need to make some rolls."
So I show my arm.
The entire city makes a fort save.
Yes. I show my arm.
Okay, so you kind of like roll up your sleeve and hold your arm out, and he kind of looks at you. He's like, "Did we have too much to drink one night? Is this what's happened?"
Unfortunately, not. Until you tell me more about this symbol, I'd prefer to withhold how I acquired this mark for now. But if you could just simply tell me a little bit more about this, I would be much obliged.
Okay. He kind of looks at you. He's like, I'll say this is the first time that someone has showed up with a tattoo of a mark of a deity they don't
This is
understand.
not a tattoo, sir.
He's like,
I will tell you that much.
well, it looks like a damn tattoo. So I'll do my best. He goes over and kind of like, not really grabs your arm, but holds it fairly firmly in front of him and has a book next to it. He's like flicking through some pages, trying to like compare. And you see him kind of like occasionally glancing over and then squinting at it, being like, "Fucking tattoo," and then going back to the book and kind of like flicking through again. And he finally kind of stops at a page and points at it as like fairly happy with himself. He's like, "Ah, here's something," and he says, "This, I mean, it doesn't look the same, but it's similar, right?" And you kind of look down. It does look similar, but not. It looks basically what he's pointing at looks to be either a variation, in that it's a predecessor to the mark that you've got, or something that's a newer version if your mark is like an older version. So it looks as if it's like a variant of what you've got. The one that is in the book like the one that you've got on your arm is
Yeah.
this kind of skulled scarab thing.
Mhm.
But it has like wings and it has kind of like little legs and stuff on it you can see, and it just has a
Right.
rounded head at the top. This one is just the skull with the kind of like beetle legs on it. Like it doesn't have the head, it doesn't have it just has like it's like a simplified version.
Okay, right, yeah.
And he's kind of pointing to it. And he's like, he says, it's only mentioned once in this whole book, which is very strange because this is supposed to be. It's like I paid a lot of money for this book. This is based on a lot of these older deities that some of these kind of like. I was going to say hipsters. Some of these people worship.
Right.
He says, so that's a bit disappointing. The only information it gives on it is that it's based on a very far eastern deity, one that's not been around for a very long time. Like we're talking hundreds of years at least, maybe even like 1,000 years. Who knows?
Okay. So it's fairly new as far as deities go.
Is like in terms of their worship, not really. Like most, if you were to look at when a deity was last worshipped, you could probably say today for most of them. This one, thousands of years ago, is probably not, or 1,000 years ago is not that new.
Yeah, but I mean, the creation of it is pretty new. Like,
Oh, I don't know if-
the following of this deity is fairly new. If it was
I don't know if that's when when they began following it. That's the
sorry.
last reference.
right, okay, I misunderstood. I thought you said that was when it all started.
No, this is the last reference is at least a few hundred years ago within this, because like the book itself just kind of notes saying, in like years past, it kind of like it references something more of a
So the last known occurrence of this deity being worshipped is about 1,000 years ago.
between 500 and 1,000. It doesn't give an exact date. It gives kind of like rough events around it that
Yeah.
would kind of like ballpark it. So you're probably looking at like at least 600 or 700 years when it was last when the deity was last kind of like mentioned by like a populace of people.
Okay.
Rather than it just being kind of like unheard of.
Fringe. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's old. It's a kind of old, lesser known, like fairly forgotten. His belief is that it's not really a major deity, in that he thinks it's more kind of like it was kind of like one of the lesser deities, like one of the kind of demigods almost.
Okay.
So he's thinking like it might not even be a deity. He says basically it says
Could be a following of a person.
yeah, for it to be referenced so little, it could be a demigod or someone who was like a high clerk in some other religion who decided to branch off and create their own thing, and they've just made this little thing, and you've somehow got this thingy on your arm. I don't know who's seen it. So what I'm thinking is that at some point someone's seen this in a book or like seen it like on a tapestry or something, and just thought that looks cool and given it to you. Like just done that.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
If I told you that every now and then the mark hurts, and that for the first night in my entire life I have gone dreamless due to this mark, how would you feel?
I'd tell you to go to a cleric. You might have an infection with that. I'd say that was some dodgy needlework there.
Against or not a tattoo.
It's like, well,
But I thank you. Is there any chance that I would be able to take either a copy or this page?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, rare book, rare deities. It's pretty.
And that's why I suggested taking a copy, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I could get a copy for you, but it'd be expensive on top of the fee for this consultation.
Well, let's be fair. You haven't really told me very much. So
It's like, well, I told you more than anyone else is going to tell you, so that's something.
That remains to be seen.
So I'll tell you what, the consultation we'll throw in because I was curious. The copy is going to cost you.
Okay. What are we talking, sir?
$1 million.
Do you want to roll? Right, you've got choices. You can either roll appraise or you can roll bluff.
Okay.
So you can choose. Appraise will give you an idea of what it would be worth to get a copy, and you can kind of haggle it a bit better. Bluff will basically be whether or not you can kind of bluff your way to getting a good price.
Let's see whether I have either of them as potentials. Right, so I've got a 0 in that one.
That's a good start.
And a 0 in that one. Smashing.
So,
This is
which one are you
gonna
going to pick?
be- That remains to be decided, isn't it, Graham?
Well, I kind of need to know for how he reacts.
Let's go with praise. And I got a 5.
Okay. So, I mean, old,
You have died.
lesser known tomes of lesser known deities. I mean, potentially the book itself could be worth more gold than anything you've ever seen. Like, it's
Yep.
that thing is priceless.
I
basically.
disagree with that.
Why?
Anything I've ever seen.
You know what I mean? Like, it's priceless. Like, it doesn't really. You couldn't value
This
it.
isn't a MasterCard advert.
A single page of that book though is like too difficult to gauge a price on. It would literally be his decision of a price more than anything else.
Okay. So what's his decision of a price?
His decision of a price is going to be, depending on how well
One gold piece.
depending on how well this rolls,
Okay, 1 gold, please.
460 gold.
Damn,
That's a
you fucking
ridiculous price,
poke
sir.
it.
That is absolutely heinous. I think
That's less than Will's bag, to be
I
fair.
think you need to reevaluate your pricing structure.
He's like you come.
You say it's less than Will's bag, but Will's bag was a bag. This is a bit of parchment with some writing on it.
It's information, Salisbury. I think you'll find information is worth money.
All right, you're not the shadow broker. Like, let's calm down.
Just to check, Graham, was there anything extra on this page that is worth me taking away with me?
You didn't read it. He did. So he's basically read you
so
what
from
he's.
what he's read to me, because all he's told me so far is there's some stuff about this mark that's kind of loosely related, that was a predecessor or a postdecessor of a descendant rather of this mark.
There might
that-
be more specifics that other people could give you information on. He's basically taking the information he understands from the page
Okay.
and giving it back to you. There could be stuff he doesn't understand that he's obviously skimmed over because he either thinks it's irrelevant or he doesn't know what it is.
Does the mark get given a name in the text?
Not that he's given, no.
Not that he's given. Okay. Well, I just flat out saying I'm not paying that. That's a ridiculous price.
You should ask him if he wants to read another book that Will has.
You could probably sell him that book, but then Will would have to have memorized it or copied it.
Wait a second. I say to him,
No, just read it.
if he's going to
Just read
make
it to
such a ridiculous opening gesture for a piece of parchment with this information on it, I feel as if I wouldn't be willing to part with gold. However, I would be willing to trade service for service.
Okay, he's curious.
Myself and my companions that you saw with me have a particular set of skills.
We've
We
been quiet
can-
for a long
we
career.
can-
He's
can
went
achieve-
from curious to worried.
Okay. No, we are particularly skilled at many things. If there was anything in particular that you were needing done or that you were perhaps putting off until you had the right time, we could perhaps look into it for you.
He says, just so we're clear, you guys aren't like
We don't do wet work
okay. You're not like
or butt stuff.
right. Okay, just making sure you're talking about the right guys.
Actually, on that note, I don't really know what the gnome does. He could do that, but
It's like, well, I'm not interested in that anyway. But
it's on the table.
there was something that
I've got a good bonus to escape artist.
there was some.
Here he does wonders with rope and a pig.
Oh god, there was some stuff that some of the guys in the market were talking about. A few of the people that are kind of higher ups within our side of things, like our side of the stalls,
Yes.
were talking about how I don't know. A lot of it seemed like speculation. So I'll tell you what. I'll give you a copy of the page if you can find out any more information about. Some of them were talking about some of these new people coming in the stalls. Some people coming in selling things. We're not really sure where they got them. It's kind of seems a bit suspicious to me. A lot of people have kind of passed up saying that they've just kind of happened upon some like rare treasures. It happens occasionally. Some guy shows up, has something that's worth a lot. He doesn't really understand,
Okay.
but it's kind of happened not frequently, but frequent enough that people have noticed. So if you
So are these people selling to the current stall owners, or are they basically setting up shop for a day and then leaving again?
They're setting up shop as normal. That's not the strange
Okay.
part. The strange part is what they've got to sell.
Right. Okay.
I mean, people come in all the time and sell things, but
Are these people that are selling these rare items, are they regulars here, or rather were they regulars before they started selling rare items?
no, they're usually new. They're people. I mean, a
So is
lot.
it different? Is it different people every time, or is it the same like kind of couple of people that keep showing up with weird items?
Can't. I mean, I'm probably not the best person to be given specifics.
That's okay, sir. I'm just trying to
If you
gauge
spoke,
as much information as possible.
if you spoke to, and he kind of like starts writing down names. If you speak to the head of the Balakir Merchants Society, which is the people.
of HR. Yes.
It's like he's not really HR, but yeah. If you speak to him, he can give you a list of everyone that's registered as a merchant within our section or our sector.
Compliance.
Yeah. So if you speak with him, he'll be able to give you a full list, and he can point out some of the people that are newer and some of the people that have been kind of highlighted on.
Okay. Perfect. I will I will gather some information for you and return. When do you think you would have the page ready?
He says I can have it ready fairly quickly. I'm pretty good at this kind of thing. If you go and speak to, I'm trying to find a name for that guy.
Tamlin from HR.
Go with that. Why not? If you go speak with Tamlin from HR,
Fuck's sake.
then come back to me. I'll have it ready.
Okay, no problem. We will go and speak to the mighty Tamlin
Tamlin
from HR.
from HR.
Fate HR.
HR, sorry.
Oh God. Right. Tamlin. Excellent. Okay, so I roll down my sleeve, hide away my mark again, and then head on out.
Okay.
So I meet the others outside. I tell them that the dwarf didn't really have a whole lot of information for me, but he does have a book that contains a lot of information on lesser known deities. He's willing to give me a copy of the pages that are relevant to my marking. But he's asked for me to gather some information for him in a sort of an information trade. So apparently, either a group of related or unrelated individuals have been showing up out of the blue and selling rare items, and he is wanting to know what they're up to. We need to go and speak to Tamlin from HR.
Faye HR.
Faye HR.
Yeah.
Do you know where he is?
Who?
Tamlin.
I don't think Tamlin's a he.
Or she. Whoever this cunt is.
Aye.
Do you know where they
HR.
reside?
No,
It's
kind of in the name.
HR. Let's calm down. That's almost against the quota. It's like, oh, are you reprimanded by HR?
Yeah, but
Yes.
this is
Are
back
you
in the
a
day.
bloke? Oh, you're in
This is
trouble.
back in the EOD. Men will work there. So only men will work there.
No, if it's back in really ye olde day, there wouldn't be an HR.
Well, the way that this works is it's ran as part of the cartel. So the
Actually, the Gestapo.
yeah, they're employed by the cartel.
So Tamlin is a member of the Gestapo's HR team.
I think we're going slightly off track, but yeah, why not?
But yes, he is.
But yes, why not?
Yes, it's a man called Tamlin. Basically, it's like the boy named Sue. Okay.
Let's go with
So
that.
yeah, do you know where his building is? Or?
Yeah, the HR building, obviously.
Okay.
It's the
Do you wanna
big,
take
it's
us
the
there?
big looming like multi-story building at the back with the lightnings flashing around it.
It's the one where all the people leave with very sore wrists.
Yep.
Yeah.
He
so-
directed that there is a kind of like main, like basically
HR
where.
building.
office.
No, it's not an office building. It's a main area.
Wait, you mean we have to go upstairs?
No, you may have to go upstairs. There's a main building at the side of each of the sections of the main square, where people that work in the cartel, who organise each of the sections from the crossroads, are. So
That
the
sounds like a lot. That sounds like far too much work to be HR. but I guess we'll give it a go. Yeah, so we'll wander over to where HR may or may not work.
If it's even a thing.
It's not HR. I don't know why you're saying it's HR.
Excuse me, Graham. This is our story.
No, it's not. It's my story.
You're just a means for us to experience it.
Uh-huh.
We're going to go and see Tamlin from HR.
Right, okay, you
In the
arrive...
building that might or might not be the HR building.
Right, you arrive at the front of it, and there's two of the kind of like armed guard people who are part of the cartel security that are outside.
I say, hello, sir. We are here to see Tamlin.
Guy looks at it, kind of like notes the mark on it as one of the actual like merchants. He's written down basically his like... He's written down his merchant ID, basically.
Uh-huh.
Directory.
And he kind of notes it down and lets you past.
Okay.
And you go inside, and there's a kind of like desk as soon as you go in.
As we walk in, I turn to Jonas and say, "This can't be HR. That was far too efficient."
Is there anyone working at the desk?
There's not. You're probably going to have to wait. It might be a week.
Is there perhaps a secretary that's currently on the phone?
Pigeon.
Yeah.
The phone on the pigeon.
On the phone.
She's writing to a carrier pigeon.
Yeah, there's
Is
someone.
is she discussing with her friend how Tom is just not right for her?
The quicker you guys get out of this place, the better it is. So let's just say,
Yeah, but
For
not the funnier
you,
it
not
is.
for us.
let's just say you're directed to a kind of like room further in
We're marched to the HR
to speak with Tamlin.
The HR. Okay, I knock on the door.
Okay. So a woman appears at the door
Okay.
and kind of motions
What
for
does
you
she
to go
look
in.
like?
Motions for you to go in. And as you go in, you see a very
What does
large.
she look like?
Hang on, a very large man behind a desk in the room,
Excellent. Please go on.
and he says, "Please sit down. What can I help you with?"
Tamlin, I assume.
Like, yes.
Excellent. Very good to meet you, sir. I believe that this is HR.
This is the organize. This is like the basically the where we organize the merchants, if that's what you mean.
Oh yes, I believe that you're Tamlin from HR.
Like,
I was wondering. There appears to be some stalls in your marketplace that sell some very rare items. I was wondering if you can tell me anything about the merchants that run those stalls.
he kind of looks at you. He's like, "I'm not here to do. I'm HR, not PR. I'm not here to organize
Oh, but I bel-
selling for the merchants. That's their own work."
Oh no! I'm not looking for selling information. I'm really wondering who these people are. We've been sent to gauge who these people are by a few interested parties.
It's like, oh wait, is this? It's like, is this what the some of the guys have been talking about? Of right, basically, the way I see it is these new guys come in, they bring their
Okay,
goods,
Tamlin.
they've been checked out.
Mm-hmm.
It's all been they had the paperwork. Everything's fine.
Of course.
They set up and just
Stamp
just
in triplicate, I would assume.
yep. Just because some of these older guys see them at their stalls with some items that they're kind of they would be wanting for themselves, doesn't mean that there's
Now, sir,
anything wrong going on.
I understand what you're saying, but
Do you know what I'm saying?
do you know what I am saying? I understand what you're saying, sir, but I've been sent here to create some fantastical story of weird and wonderful witchcraftery and strangeness. None of it has anything to do with a man called Illidan. And if I go back to them and say, by the way, everything checks out and it's all grand, that's not a particularly great story. And I personally am a man who believes that the facts should never get in the way of a great story.
It's like, well, in that case, you could just lie and just say that yeah, there is something up. But then when they come back to me and ask what it was, you're gonna have to explain that you were lying to them.
But see, Tamlin, this is why we should concoct this not wholly ridiculous story, but only partially ridiculous story together.
He's like, okay, right, listen. What I'll do is, I'll give you a list of some of the newest merchants in the area.
Okay.
The ones that I've been told about before to look out for because they're dodgy. They're not dodgy. They're fine. But I'll give you this list anyway.
The dodgy ones. Yes.
Right. I'll give you the list of them.
Is there any
And
chance you could put like a little mark beside their name, just to pretend they're a bit more dodgy than they are?
I'm literally giving you the names. I'm not giving you between. What do you mean next to the names?
Well, I mean, it would look much better if the list was written in Tamlin's handwriting rather than my own.
I'll write the names down for. What do you mean put a mark next to them? What?
I mean, like if there's a list of merchants and then some of them are marked as being super dodgy.
None of them are dodgy. None of them never been super dodgy.
Sir, I understand that they are not dodgy. However, appearances are everything.
Well, there's none of them I would put to be super dodgy. So I'll just write the names down, give you them, and you can go on your way.
You are hard work.
Right. He gives you a list of names.
Thank you.
Do you
Tamlin.
want the names, or do you want them written down for you?
Could you write the names down for me, please, sir?
Jesus.
Thank you, Tamlin.
This is definitely like HR now. It's like pulling teeth.
It's not. This is literally porno doing it more than this guy is. This guy has been trying to be helpful. Jeez, I'm going to put them in Skype.
Thank you, Tamlin.
There you go.
Skype. Can you put them in Skype, please?
No, they're in Roll20.
But you said you'd put them in Skype.
Yeah, I know. I put them in Roll20.
It's this HR.
I remember that if I put them in Skype, it messes up the overlay.
Goodness sake. Thank you, Tamlin.
As I look over the list, as
It's
Hakon
4 names.
receives
It's
it-
hardly a list.
Yeah, well, it's more than one, therefore it's a list.
Right.
Fucking-
On the list, I quickly scribble like a small dick and balls, and then draw a skull over the top of it to make it look like it's an interesting mark beside the 2 Mortis names.
Okay.
Do I just kind of go to Tamlin and be like, are the 2 Mortis individuals brothers by any chance?
Like, I don't know. They've got the same name. They're either brothers or lovers. One of the two.
I thought
You're-
this was HR. You should know these things.
You are useless. I thought you had to do some form of paperwork to sell your stuff here.
You do. It doesn't involve.
And I just
who's
go,
your-
I literally just walk out. I don't let play.
Okay.
I literally just walk out the door.
You just hear him being like, "Bloody travellers coming in here."
I thank you for the list. I apologize for the trouble that we have caused him, and
No apology is going to make up for
and
this.
tell
trouble.
him that I am truly sorry, and it is such an unfortunate shame, and then just leave.
What's an unfortunate shame?
Enough.
It just is. It just is, and then leave.
Just is.
Okay. All right. Okay. So
Obviously, I'm implying the fact that he's called Tamlin and he's a very large man.
yeah.
But I'm not going to tell him that. I'm just going
No.
to tell him it's a shame.
No.
We're going to see Tamlin again.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to make it my mission to come and see Tamlin again.
I'll keep a note of him.
It's the new goal.
Return to goals. Make Tamlin's life a misery.
I honestly hope you keep that goal for a very long time because you would never get the experience for it. Tamlin has died. Unfortunately, he's been replaced with Mildred, who does not care.
Damn it, Tamlin! Even in death, you're useless.
Okay, so you got your list of names. You held them out. What are you doing?
I'm going to take the list of names with my dodgy penis skull markings back to the lads in the merchants area.
Right. He didn't want the list of names. He just said come back and he'll have your copy done for you.
Yeah, well, I've got information for him.
Okay. So you come back and he hands you it, and it's
And
like,
list of names.
yeah, it's not the best copy. It's like more scribbled than anything else. But I mean, he's doing it.
Pay 450
Yeah,
gold for it.
you're not paying for it this time, so it's not. No, to be fair, the gold would literally be him ripping the page out of the book and giving it to him.
Yeah.
So the copy is like a shitty version. So he hands you, he's like, "There you go, one perfect copy."
One list of names, sir.
He's like, "I don't. Why
These 2 are particularly dodgy.
He's like, "Why are you giving this to me?"
I thought you wished the information on these people.
like,
Here is
no.
the list of names taken directly from Tamlin, FHR himself.
I said to go and investigate them, not to give me their names.
Yes.
We're the ones who gave them the names in the first place.
Yes, but maybe you want to know that some of them are really fucking dodgy.
Says who?
Says Tamlin! HR!
I thought Tamlin didn't care.
Tamlin's a strange individual.
Right, okay.
He does care.
Does he?
Yes.
Well,
He just needed some persuading.
last
I
time...
thank you for the copy.
Uh-huh.
We will go and we're going to go and investigate these names, especially the dodgy ones. They're really dodgy. And we will return when we have more information, sir. Thank you.
I honestly thought you would be going on that last name as being very dodgy.
Nah,
Right, obviously just Jack.
Majid's a top lad. We've seen him before. He's done good work for us in the past.
It was stellar work.
God damn that Sandman.
So yeah, where are you heading? What's your plan?
Did we get any? Do we literally just get these guys' names, or do we
I want to
know,
go
like,
speak.
roughly
I want
when
to go
they'll
and speak to Carl.
You will go speak to Carol Loftbane.
Yeah.
Okay, so how are you finding Carol? Carl.
I'm just going to shout Carl and wait till someone replies.
Yeah, he'd probably reply. So you're kind of wandering about just shouting Carol, and you just hear some guy being like, "What? What is it?" He's like, "Hello."
Like, oh, Carl! Nice to meet you. And then wander over to his stall.
Okay, so he's kind of looking at you funny, being like, "Can I help you?"
Ah, yes, Carl. Me and my good night. Me and my friends here were sent by Tamlin for HR. Apparently your registration form wasn't filled out correctly. Is there any chance you could answer a couple more questions for us?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I got full clearance. Like I would.
Yes, apparently there was a mix-up. Jenny at reception burned half of your form, so we need to do the rest of it again.
Okay. I mean, I can.
Apparently Tom was just being the worst.
I mean, I can. I'm going to take a break soon. I can go and fill in another one if you want.
Oh no, that's why we were sent here to inconvenience you as little as possible.
But I'm working now. I'm trying to.
I don't see anyone at your stall, sir. It would literally take a couple of moments.
And there's just some woman next to you just looking at you, being like, "What the hell?"
I just put my hand in her face and
she's holding some kind of ornament thing, looking at you, being like, "What?"
I'll just go up to like right beside his like ear and just be like, "Just a moment or two, sir," and like stand there.
Okay. Do you want to roll intimidate?
I wonder what I might have to roll for that. I mean, I might not want to roll. Oh no, I'll roll intimidate.
You roll intimidate, Porno roll bluff.
Okay.
Okay, you are sufficiently intimidating. He is intimidated.
I got 10.
However, Porno's right. Basically, if he
He's
wasn't
intimidated, but he
No,
still
no.
doesn't have a clue what's going on.
Very confused, very scared at the same time.
if he wasn't being intimidated, he probably wouldn't believe your story. But there's a very odd man whispering in his ear, so he's kind of put off by it. So he says, okay, I'll answer your questions. Yeah, okay. Well, what do you need? Kind of just occasionally glancing over at Jonas, being like, what is
I'm
this
still
guy?
standing there, like really close, like almost touching his ear with my face.
Lick it.
The first question was,
Not yet.
where is your most recent place of business before you came to... what's the name of this town?
Velis Crossing.
Before
Or
you
Velis
came,
Crossroads, whatever.
before you came to the Crossroads.
I was working in Balakir. I was working for one of the stores there. The guy who owns it told me to take some of the stuff we had to try and sell it off here for more of a profit.
Could you possibly give us the name of the store, just in case there are any mishaps and we need to contact someone?
Bahar Bargains.
I just sigh. Tam will think I'm making this up.
He's like this.
Okay, so sorry. So you previously traded in Bakir Bargains and have now come to the Crossroads. You're the owner of Bakir Bargains. What is his name?
Here.
Excellent. How original. Not one to judge me. Nope, no, not at all. We have a man called Tamlin working for us. Um, were wondering on the sources of your stock. Apparently, there's been some strange goings on recently in town, and we want to ensure that all stock is accounted for and has been provided from reputable suppliers.
I got it from my boss. I don't. What?
Simple answer to the question, sir.
Yeah, I got. I told you, I got it from my boss.
Oh,
He
thank you
told
very
me to
much.
come sell it.
Thank you, Carl.
Okay. Is that all, or?
1 second, sir. I'm noting down your answers. This is a form, after all.
I don't remember these questions on the form.
As he says that, I just lean in a bit closer and go, just answer the question, sir.
Roll another intimidate check.
Ah!
Okay, he's intimidated again.
He's now shitting himself.
It's like, okay.
There are a couple of other people that have recently entered the crossroads along with yourself. Do you recognise any of these names? And I show him the other 3 names.
He says, I
With the sign.
just came from Barakia. I don't really know anyone else.
So you don't know any of the people on this list?
No.
Okay, thank you, Carl. And I just give Jonas the nod and turn to walk away.
So I kind of just forcefully like drop my hand on his other shoulder and be like, thank you, Carl. I just walk off.
He kind of like, you kind of just stands there, like not really moving for a while. You can just kind of see him as you're walking off, just kind of like some woman comes up and she's like, "Excuse me," and he's just staring blankly ahead, confused. So we'll take a break just now to stop this fucking stupidity.
It's not going to stop stupidity. Stupidity is going to continue.
I mean, as much as usually when it's Will doing his things, which involve pigs and ropes and fucking oil and grease and whatever else is going on, that makes a lot more sense and is a lot less stupid than what's happening right now. So we'll take a break and we come back. It might calm down a little bit.